exciting, and we just want to involve as many people in engaging them in biodiversity awareness as possible. And we think this is pretty useful for places such as local councils who do have a bit of a growth in this sort of biodiversity awareness as part of what they do. Our communications are held in 3 languages: Portuguese, Spanish, and English. We have a website set up, which Seamus has a lot to do with, which actually has translations. We translate everything into Spanish and Portuguese from English, or from Portuguese and Spanish into English, and whatever other language. So we do try and be trilingual. If we have French come along, we will try and do the same thing for French and any other languages. We have tried a little bit of Swahili communication, but that's a project that's in the works. We also have, we'll be developing a Trello workspace to communicate graphics and other images and things like that. And we also have a Canva for creating these images if you want to get involved in that. I just want to ask a show of hands if everyone has officially signed up on our spreadsheet. If you've done that, can you please let me know? If you haven't done that, sorry, can you please let me know? We do have a link in the agenda to the spreadsheet. You should all have access to that. If anyone doesn't have access to that, the link in the agenda should provide that. And it's actually, the spreadsheet is actually on the in the folder that you should all have access to. So in that spreadsheet, what we want you to do is to make sure that you update any social media that you're using, so that when we are doing posts from our GSB account, or other people are doing posts, they can tag you in them, and we can communicate more effectively and spread through social media, because a lot of social media is more effective if people like and share.
Just put it in the chat there for people if they would like to access that now.
Yeah, and part of what we do is we're all volunteers who run this, and we don't have. Sorry, Liz has a. You have a question, Liz, or you just put your hand up that you've?
Sorry, no question. That was just I'd filled in the spreadsheet.
That's fine. That's cool. Yeah. So. Yeah, just make sure that we all have our social media on there. We communicate by spreading the word, by sharing other people's accounts, other people's posts if we have access or the ability to do so. I know some people are on they're using local council social media, and it can be sometimes, I'm not sure what it's like in other states, but in South Australia, it's quite problematic. Social media accounts are quite difficult to get things on. So that might be a bit of an issue, but yeah, please do share from a GSB social media account. So we also have a timeline for trying to get things done. That's all in progress for this year because it's a bit short. But have a look at that. I'll provide that to you guys in the next week or so via email. We have, as part of that timeline, we have a few online tutorial events for beginners, which Thomas will be holding, and a advanced one. So if local councils want to promote that in their area, I do, or want to be a co-host on Facebook, please shoot us an email or a message on Facebook, and we can add you as co-host on that.
If we can live stream it as well, we'll see how we go.
Yeah, we'll try and do that. We should be able to live stream it on Facebook, but I'll leave that up to Seamus because I've got too much other stuff to do. The Google Drive folder, you guys should all have access to that. Now, in that folder, we will be putting resources such as graphics that we use. Please feel free to add your own so that we can share each other's graphics. The idea behind sharing graphics is that we want to try and make this a community event and have everyone sort of collaborate together to share different graphics. Did you have a question, Pete? Did that go up?
I've put into the graphics area some Instagram ready, social media ready photos that people are welcome to use and share around. I'll put them, hopefully that link I've just put in the chat would take you there.
Can I ask, Pete, did you put that meme in there as well?
No, but I can put that in now.
Yeah, that might be worthwhile putting in, because that seemed to go quite
That
well.
was a good one.
Yeah. So so putting all that sort of stuff in there, things that can be used is pretty important. We have some there for 6 weeks out, which I should put in there soon as well. Also, the platform. Now, unfortunately, we're only going to be using iNaturalist because that's our preferred platform. There are a few other ones that we wouldn't mind using, like Nature Mapper. But as a non-profit volunteer-based thing, we won't be using any sort of commercial apps, because iNaturalist is better than most of those, and it's free for people to use. They can contribute via donation, but they don't charge anything for the usage of it. So I think that gives more accessibility, which is what we're after, getting people access, and there's no cost prohibitions on that, other than actually accessing a smartphone or a camera, which can be a bit of an issue, but that is something that's very difficult to overcome. So I just want to quickly talk about projects. If anyone's got any questions, just raise your hand. I think a lot of the Australian projects are okay, but we do have a standard set of sort of criteria for a project, like a naming convention. So we have 3 different naming conventions, 1 Spanish, 1 Portuguese, and 1 English. So we do ask that the first part of the name is kept standard. So Great Southern Bible, it's 2021, and then the name of your particular project. As an example, I've given Greater Adelaide, and that needs to be entered into the spreadsheet so we can add it to the umbrella projects. So the observation requirement when you have a project should be left blank. We have got some exclusion filters, such as humans, domestic dog, and cat. People can make observations of these, but we want to try and keep them out of the GSB, because we're generally trying to keep things about keep the Great Southern Violets about biodiversity and not necessarily about domestic animals. The data quality should be research grade, needs ID, or casual. Casual can be things such as planted or cultivated plants. And the reason why we've included that is because of, well, a number of reasons. A lot of cities have a lot of trees that are planted that can be important for tracking relationships between animals and plants. But also during lockdown, we have had some issues with people not having access to the wild, like getting out doing more challenging biodiversity stuff, so they can actually take pictures of garden plants, and that can be important with relationships between insects and things like that. So we've kept it as the ability for people to add casual things there, so cultivated plants and things like that can be included. The user field should be left blank, and that means that you don't have to join the project to contribute, and that means we get a collection of people who may decide just to take some pictures but don't want to join the project. And the project members only box should be left unchecked. Media type should be any, which allows both photographs and sound to be uploaded. Establishment means should also be any, which allows all sort of observations. And the date observed should just be the dates. So you don't need to specify a time, because if you just specify the dates, that'll include any observations made on those particular days within that the geographic area defined. Yep, so allow members to trust this with hidden coordinates unchecked. So in case you find some endangered species, it can be, I think the actual hidden stuff can be still obscured, or if people are taking observations in the backyard, it can also be obscured. So the area, generally we want to have areas defined as an LGA boundary. And the reason why this was decided was because we didn't want to have overlapping projects. So this was something we decided on doing last year and we've kept up with. So that suits lots of local councils as well, but also with if we have field naturalist groups that don't quite cover a local council, we can just extend it out. And they don't necessarily have to focus on those areas, but it means that anyone within that local council group can contribute. You can team up with other local councils. I've done the Adelaide project, and that's a carry on from the City Nature Challenge, which was set up by someone else, which is quite extensive and includes lots of local councils that are, each one is actually quite small. And that's been kept on because it's an easier thing to manage. Rather than doing a whole bunch of different projects, it's easier just to just group them all together, and same with Sydney. So where there's other pickup of local councils, such as in Melbourne, where there's been really good engagement, a lot of these local councils can do their own little projects, and I think that's quite good. And it'll be something I'd like to see happen a bit more in places like Adelaide and Sydney, but that'll come with time. So once it's been saved and the URL has been added to the spreadsheet, we can then add it to our umbrella project. Okay. We also have a suggested description. So if you click on there's a little link there, which has a number of suggestions for text to go into the project description. In there is a code which will show up our logo, and there's also links to our social media and our web page, which we would like to have in there, as well as a link to the umbrella project. Now, the reasons behind that are that we'd like for people who have any other questions be able to go to our website, but also if they're looking at your project but they don't live in your area, they can check on the umbrella project and see if there's other areas nearby that they can join. And as a collaborative sort of project, we want to try and include participation across all areas and support each other in getting participants in other areas as well. So whenever I do posts on social media, or when I do posts on social media, I'll mostly try and direct them to either our website or to the umbrella project. And this will mean that people can have a look and see what other projects are in their area. Now, the results. We will display certain categories, such as the most observations and the most species and the most observers, things like this. We don't want to get too involved in having this thing framed as a competition, because, as you can imagine, we're dealing with a large area across the Southern Hemisphere, and different areas have different contexts. And it's a bit hard to compare somewhere like Sydney with somewhere like a small rural city in Ecuador, because its access to internet may be different, and access to devices may also be different. So we don't want to have people in a disadvantage. So that's the reason why we're looking at that. If we had a way where we could actually quantify the differences and make a direct comparison, that would be great, but it's really, really difficult, as I'm sure you can all imagine, comparing a rural Australian city with or rural Australian LGA with a suburban or urban area is also quite difficult, because one has a large number of people, the other one has a large number of natural environment, but small amount of people. So it can be quite difficult. So that's a bit of an introduction. We wanted to just keep this meeting reasonably brief, and give you guys a bit of an overview, and try and get everyone to think about having that project if they haven't joined up, and also make them aware of the umbrella project. We also have for those of you, I think we're all Australians here, we have a Oceania umbrella project as well. So I'll put that up. make sure you have a quick look at that as well. And then we can, if you're not added to that, please let me know and I can add you straight away. So does anyone have any questions about this? Everyone's been a bit quiet. Michelle, do you have anything to say?
I was just going to say, maybe we can mention some of the ways we are getting people to join in.
Yep.
So I'm part of the Redland City group. At this stage, I was originally went in to actually do it last year by myself. This year, Redland City Council have come on board as well, which is fabulous. But they've said to me, how do we get people to engage? And I've said, well, I'm actually also a scout leader. So what I'm doing is I'm going around and actually training our local scouts, venturers and rovers on how to use iNaturalist, and then using them to show other people. So that therefore becomes their community service. So we have an open day, a festival coming up at Indigiscapes in Redlands for an environmental day. And so we're taking 30 odd scouts with us to show people how to use iNaturalist. Now, if for some reason then our area is in lockdown during the actual time of Great Southern Bioblitz, it's really quite easy to switch the message over from go out and see your local area to go in your own backyard, see what's in your backyard. So this is kind of the ways we're doing things. We're also looking at our land care groups and our bush care groups and stuff and seeing how many of them need upskilling in iNaturalist. And that's where Pete and Seamus and Thomas and stuff come in really handy for showing people how to use iNaturalist. And we are currently in the process of uploading how-to guides and stuff onto our YouTube channel. So there'll be a section there that you can grab and actually show people. These will be like only a few minutes long. We're just trying to keep them simple. But you know, one of the biggest things we've also found is letting people know, letting your local schools, primary schools, high schools, and yes, even kindergartens know that this is going to happen. And that might be something as simple as tagging them on social media or sending them an email or a letter or doing a mass bulk email out to everyone. We don't want to annoy people, but at the same time, grabbing the Great Southern Bioblitz logo, which you will have access to in our G Drive, in our Google Drive, to put on things as well as your own logo if you have them as well, is a great way of bringing it all together as well. So really my point is find out who are the people that you want to be involved in this, who would have the time over that long weekend, basically. We're also looking at gardening groups. We're also looking at University of the Third Age. We're looking at local TAFE as well. So yeah, all of these things and more are coming up. I will be writing a form letter for scout groups, just so you guys know how to phrase it in the next week or so and putting it on our website. At the moment with scouts, we used to do community service by going into aged care facilities. Of course, we cannot do that anymore, but there are a couple of new badges that they've just released internationally as well as nationally that you can advertise as this is a way to get these badges for your local scouts as well. So if you have any questions about engagement and stuff like that, please let us know. I'll shut up now and let you guys chime in.
I had a question as well, just in relation to competitions. Are you happy if we were to run it as a competition for our region to help promote it and get more people involved for Logan? Because we do that. These types of things.
Yep. Hi, Nick. My husband actually works for Logan City Council. We'll catch up later. Yeah. But if you have any specific questions, by all means, ask him as well. He's kind of a semi-expert now. But yeah, we don't have a problem if you want to actually do it as a competition in your area. Yeah. Another option you can do is actually have a look in iNaturalist and see who has made observations in your area and actually physically write them to them via iNaturalist and say, hey, we're about to start Great Southern Bioblitz. We'd love to have you. And you can do that in the journaling section in iNaturalist.
Sorry, Nick.
Sorry,
Nick,
you're a bit quiet.
We can't hear. Can I get you to lean in a bit? We can't actually hear much of what you're saying. I apologise.
Yeah, we're in contact with a lot of our users that are making lots of observations already.
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll let them know.
Yep.
But yeah, it'll be promoted on our Facebook page as well. But usually, yeah, sometimes we'll do competitions for these type of things, for a gift voucher or something. We're doing a blind gift this weekend for a
Yeah,
voucher.
you can always ask the local. One of the things we're doing in Redland City, and other local councils might want to copy this. We're actually asking our local libraries to leave their Wi-Fi on over the weekend rather than turning it off every night. We're also giving a heads up to the cafes and so forth that are in that area with the free Wi-Fis, and letting them know that, hey, you might get more people at this time. I'm going to be then stationing some of our scouts and rovers near those cafes. So there will be people there to ask as well. So that's just an idea. Yes, we may all be in lockdown by then, heaven forfend. Let's hope not. But there's some other ideas as well.
Yeah, well, we're also planning to maybe do some bio blitzes across Logan on that weekend as well.
Yep. Yep. And that might be a case of going to seeing what experts you've got on iNaturalist near you. And also maybe even asking somewhere like your local museums and stuff if they've got any that would come out and help you do IDs and stuff.
I'm on the environment team, so we've got quite a few people that are really familiar with it already and know plants and animals and things like that. So we'll probably do it that way. Hopefully.
Yeah, well, another fun thing might be dress up as a scientist day. Something like that, and then have all your people who are actually scientists stand there just normally. They will actually, I'm a scientist too. And that can be a great little introduction to science for many of the kids as well.
Yeah.
They're not all scientists have wacky hair, male, and live in a lab coat. Yeah.
There's a few engagement things that we tend to do as well. Like we'll probably have one of the nights, we haven't set that up yet, but we probably will very soon, will be a moth night. We encourage people to do moths, look at moths that night, go out and look under your light globe. We did Bash a Bush last year, 5 on Friday, where we encourage people to do 5 observations at lunchtime on Friday. So we do encourage people to come up with their own and to share them. One thing I like anyway is to try and have an idea and make it uniform across the entire event. So we have a moth night, we'll make that Saturday night, and everyone promotes it on Saturday night, because if one person decides they want to do a moth night and they do it on a Sunday, and another person wants to do it on a Saturday, there can be a bit of a conflicting message. Just try and come up with these really good standard ideas and sort of just everyone promote the same thing.
It's also helpful too for things like scout groups and stuff. If you can give them, this is what's on over this weekend. If you want to do a moth night at your den and invite people to come along or whatever, so it helps our community groups as well if they know what's happening.
Okay. I've also got something, I'll just show you guys as well, the umbrella project locally, because we're mainly Australians here. So hang on, let me just get rid of that. This is our local, the Oceania umbrella, which includes areas in the Pacific. It includes New Zealand and Fiji. Now within that, we have a project journal, and you can add your own to there. I've actually set up in here a whole bunch of drafts for every single area. They're all standard. But if you want to have a post set up for your particular area, you just send me a bit of text I can put in this bit here, and then we can set up some links to various pictures if you can identify some, because it takes a lot of time to actually work those out. And down below, I've just tagged the top 50 or so observers within that particular council. So this is for Logan. So if we have a look over here, there's a fair bit of stuff in here. It's all fairly standard. You can have all this if you wish to, this code to set up your own journal posts. And you can include this sort of the social media stuff and links to our social media and our webpage to try and promote other people to joining. sort of in here goes the specific text for that particular council. So if you want to do that, I did put out a call for everyone to send some stuff in. Some people did, and I think one from Logan came in. If you want to do that, it's great, and it can be we can use this in our social media to post some pictures and some text that will go through to both Facebook and Twitter, and that does help involve people a little bit. Yeah. And that code that goes in there that drags pictures from iNaturalist is fairly easy to do. So if you do want to encourage people, you can write journal posts, tagging the top users, like we said, and then just add some down the bottom. And that's a fairly simple process. And that will make sure that all these people are notified that there's a journal post. The other thing you can do is get people to make sure that they, under your membership, they've ticked that they do receive notifications, and you can sort of discuss that with people as well. Now, there was another question there, which I stopped. I didn't see. Yep. Stop share. Okay, let me just see the questions. Michelle's YouTube's.
Hi, I was just asking if there was somewhere on the Great Southern Bioblitz website where resources could be like Michelle's YouTubes that she's making. And now you've just shown us a lot of the really good stuff on the iNaturalist website. Maybe there could be somebody on your website, somewhere on your website that just has links to those things so that we can all find them easily.
Yeah, we can do that. Some of the issues around, we don't want to give access to the website to the spreadsheet and things like that, unless it's a members only. But even then, it's people can join the website. So there's a bit of an issue around privacy and some of the stuff. But
it's just wanting to be able to link to you, your social media, and link from your social media to our social media and things like that. If it's all in one place, it'll be easy for us to do that. And I don't mind if it's in the member space, if it's in Google somewhere, that could be fine, but just somewhere that we can. I don't have a lot of time, so if I need to have things that are easy to get to, or they won't get done, I'm afraid.
So possibly a resources folder in our GSB G Drive or something, Google
That's
Drive.
what I was wondering. Yeah, something like that. Really sorry about that, but I need all
there is a resources folder in the organisers area organisers space.
Is it shareable, findable by others though, Stephen? We'll have to look at the.
Is it what? Sorry.
Is it editable and shareable by others? That's all.
Yeah.
Have a look at that.
Okay,
Yeah, it should be.
Sorry, I haven't found it yet. I will do.
Yeah. So if you go on that link that was in the chat, it should take you to a folder which is the area organisers folder. In that, there's a folder named logos, and that's got
Yep, got that.
all the logos in there. The graphics one, and in the subfolder, there's one for Oceania, which is Australia. I'm not sure. It's got some graphics in there. There should also be one for meetings, other resources. And in the other resources, there's an invitation text to organisers, the umbrella project text, and then there's some suggested text for projects, which has both Spanish, English, and Portuguese, a little bit of code, and some with some links in it, and some text about social media. And there's also a folder in there which has some graphics in there for the results from 2020 in, it's mainly in English at the moment. And I will be adding later a spreadsheet with various social media accounts to tag, such as a Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram accounts. And that's all categorized by continent, country, and state. So if you want to add any of your own to that, I will add that shortly. It's one that I use. I can show you the one now if you want to. I'll just bring it up.
Cool.
I
was just going to add, Stephen.
Yeah.
Just to add to your question, Libby, I think what you're asking for is some more resources, or at least into one location. I definitely think it's something you can work on a little bit. So yes, I think we'll organize more of this into a shareable folder for Google Drive, and then we'll send that out to all organisers. But in terms of adding some more resources on the website, I'm happy to have any other suggestions on there. We do currently on the organisers information page have things like templates for logos and banners, and of course our social medias on the website. But yes, if there's anything else you'd like to see on there, do let me know, or just give us an email, send us an email, or just contact us on social media, and we can work something out.
Yeah, I think we need a one pager as well, which we've got some one pages from last year, but we do need one for this year, which is something that needs to be developed in the next month or so, and that will be available, as well as that we're developed. I think Pete at the moment is developing a certificate for people to give to participants, if that's something that you want to do, as well as we want to have a like a little a flyer thing, which I've got the idea in my head as to what we're going to do, but I haven't actually done it yet, which will have a QR code on there linking to the umbrella project, as well as a save the date sort of thing. So, and it'll have space on there, hopefully, for people to add their council logo and or their organisation logo on there. So at some point, I'll be adding this to the resources. So in here, you've got filters across the top.
Good afternoon, Graham. I'll take this. My name's Solicitor. Is Timothy still available, please?
So sorry, I didn't quite hear that. No? Okay. So across here we have Oceania, Australia, Australia-wide, New South Wales, South Australia, Victoria, and so forth. I added the ones in from this year, and these are ones that I was using locally in South Australia, but I think it's something we should be sharing. So across here we have various Twitter handles, Facebook groups, and Instagram. So we can build on this. I've been using it with a lot with engagement in South America and Africa, but I also I have a whole lot of Twitter accounts and things that I know. So I haven't actually added them to this, but so I'll need to update that and add a whole bunch of ones that are not included. But if we have this on our, I'll put this on our resources, so you can go in there and just say you want to make a post about Lake Macquarie. You can also look at other New South Wales accounts that you might wish to tag in your Twitter posts, or Australia-wide ones that like Bush Heritage or Bush Blitz, if you want to add them to increase visibility of these things. So if anyone wants to add to these to this database, I encourage you to do so. It just means that we have a more options of accounts to include in our outreach. But definitely one pages, posters, and things like that we'll be developing in the next couple of weeks, and putting them on the resources. And if anyone else wants to add and help with that, please go ahead. I'll just stop the share. We also have a few YouTube channels. We have a YouTube channel where we've done previous engagement stuff around workshops and things like that. So they're also available to provide to people. And like I said before, we'll also be doing some live workshops. Now, if you want us to do any more, please get in contact with us, and we can try and arrange for some that might be at more appropriate times. But at the moment, like I said, we have 2 beginners and we have one advanced workshop, and these workshops work really well with getting people engaged because they're quite interactive, and people get a lot out of them. And I encourage you to go along to have a look at the way Thomas presents these things. I can also do some additional ones, and I think Pete can probably do some as well. So if we do want to do a few others, that's fine. Just let us know if you have some that do some other ones that you want to put on. But if we're not going to get a huge number of participants of the ones we put on, we probably won't put on anymore. If we get good response, then we will put on additional ones. So if you guys want to advertise that to your constituents, then if we get a good response, we'll add a few more to the program, and they can be seen on our Eventbrite or our Facebook page. So, and they should be on the website as well. So I think if anyone's got any other questions. I don't think so. So can I just get everyone to check to make sure that their project is on the Oceania umbrella and the overall umbrella? And if they're not, can you get in contact with me, and I'll try and work out what's going on. I'll just paste the link to the Oceania umbrella in there. Oops, wrong one. Yeah, so just check that, make sure it's all working. If it's not, we can troubleshoot as to what's not working. If you haven't set up your project, you need some assistance, just give one of us a call through the GSB email or personally, and we can help you troubleshoot or help you set up the project. Okay.
My apologies to everyone, but I have to head off because some of us are considered essential workers in their day jobs, and that's me.
Yeah.
So I have to get back into work. But it's a pleasure to meet all of you. Like I said, if you have any questions or any queries, please don't hesitate to email us. You can catch me as well on Twitter as sitsci_geek. And also you can contact us via our Facebook page as well.
Yeah, excellent. Right, well, I'm going to wrap it up now anyway, Michelle. Any final words from Seamus or Pete?
No, that's it.
Okay, excellent. All right, guys.
Does anyone have anything else they want to ask about ideas or anything else?
No.
By all means, unmute and say good day.
It says here, sounding great. Looking forward to working with you. Thank you very much. So I think everyone seems to be pretty happy. It's it's a pretty straightforward meeting. I will be setting forward some more of these coffee times. If you have any particular times that you want, we would see what we can do. Friday seems to be fairly flexible, and having it during work hours at sort of lunch would suit most people. But we'll be doing a few evening ones to try and have some cross-fertilization with Africa and South America, which I encourage you to get involved in. We have a lot of people who speak English in South America, probably not that well, so you need to speak clearly and everything, but they're really great to work with, and they've got some really good ideas. Some of them work at various levels of government and in various different industries. And I really do encourage you guys to sort of take advantage of our interconnectivity with people working in different countries and different contexts, because there really is some transferables there, I think. All right, so without any further ado, I will say goodbye. Thanks for your time, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.